Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Um, Here we are one more time getting the lights. It's the lighting. It's the lighting. We'll take that out in editing, right? Okay, this is the live version. Oops. There we go. So, good morning, good people. This is Thursday, July 30th, 31st. Thursday, July 31st, 2025. It is about close to 6 a.m. here in southwestern Nevada. We are up in over the mountain range on the other side. We're west of Sin City, east of Death Valley, south of Area 51 in Art Bell, George Norrie, hard scrabble territory, also known as Pahrump-Tucky. Hard scrabble, sharp elbowed people here, gun toting, tough talking, not really generous people. I got mine, no one helped me, you got to go get yours, I worked hard my whole life, etc. So when they talk about iron sharpens iron, yeah, that's kind of this place. This is not a let me help you, I got up here on the ledge, let me help pull you up. No, this is yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I did it though, so since I can do it, you can do it too. God helps those who help themselves. So what do you expect from me? That's not in the Bible. I know, Benjamin Franklin said it. And voila, that's what we got here. So, but it's the place. And a great place to hone your skills. Always being fact checked. Looked at with suspicion. Yeah, good training ground. Very good training ground. All right, but nobody cares about that. So let's talk about what we do care about. This is the last day of July. It is also day 4 in week 3 of our neuroscience oriented approach to success. This is available on Amazon, Lulu, bookstores across the galaxy. Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but it's here. It's a thing. It's not a electronic thing. It's not just pixels on a screen. It's an actual thing made from trees and oil products. Okay, so day 4, week 3, outside our skull-sized kingdom. This is the week where we preparing for our journey or our journey through life. We have this ship that's going to take us on a journey, this metaphorical ship that's large enough to be able to withstand a tough journey, be able to have a lot of supplies and room for treasure, for booty, but we need a crew. So this is the week about how do we get a crew. Monday, we learned from David Logan from USC, you need people like you, members of your tribe. So if you want to find members of your tribe, join a tribe and nudge them forward. So this is kind of nudging, right? This is pushing. This could be nudging. Nudging. Join tribe, nudge forward. Tuesday, we learned how to nudge. Seth Godin, 4-step process. Find part of the status quo to change. Tell a compelling story, connect with the true believers, ignore the non-true believers, and then lead them. Yesterday, Simon Sinek, we learned, well, how do you tell a compelling story? Because that's the key. How do you tell a compelling story? And the compelling story is why we need to change the status quo. That's the compelling story. Why do we need to change the status quo? Not how are we going to change it, not what are we going to change, how, why do we need to change the status quo? Because people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Now, today we're going to talk about the magical science of storytelling. Aha. The magical science of storytelling. Is storytelling a science or is it an art? Right. We're going to learn about that. But let's go to our worksheet. Right. So the purpose of the podcast is to create a routine and then repetition, 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 because that's how we get forward in life. We build better habits. Somebody signed me out. Who's that SOB, that son of a bitch that signed me out? Am I still on here? Okay. Let's see if I'm on. Looks like somebody else is on as me. Huh? That's interesting. How could I be on here twice? Oh well, it's a mystery that shall be solved. That's one of those mysteries that get solved by, or maybe somebody's, well, it's a mystery that gets solved. However, our focus now is on this. Where'd we go? Okay, here we are, back. Okay, so storytelling, is it an art or a science? Well, it's a magical science. Right, but let's get to some other things. Advice from an 80-year-old. Be bold and courageous. When you look back on life, you'll regret the things you didn't do more than the ones you did. Be bold and courageous. Carpe diem. Seize the day. All righty then. How about Seth Godin? What does he say? In theory, ... In theory, anything that works in practice can work in theory. When a theory tells us something that is working is impossible, we've either measured wrong or the theory needs updating. That's kind of like the bumblebee thing, right? Theories exist to explain, predict, and understand. They are supposed to help us see and improve the world around us, and they're never finished. Just ever better explanations seeking to catch up with reality. If a theory is effective, use it. The law of attraction, AA. Those are effective theories. When it's not, don't blame reality. Right. So when AA doesn't work, don't blame reality. That it has to do with neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters. And if you can adjust the flux capacitor on those neurotransmitters, boom, good. HT, okay, HT to Lee and Fennel. HT, I know what shout out is. Okay, humble thanks. All right. Okay, so let's talk about how we're doing for time, such a runic rhyme. Okay, magical science of storytelling. There's 4 things. What is it? Okay, well, what is it? How is it used? The magical science of storytelling is to tell stories, it's to think about what do I want the person to feel? What neurotransmitters do I want to release in that person? What do I want to release in? What neurotransmitters do I want to release in that person so that I can communicate something to them that I want them to follow up to do, to understand, etc. So it's like a booster rocket. The storytelling comes before the other stuff. And you'll notice Simon Sinek generally starts his speeches with a story, and it could be about soldiers, and it's to get us to feel bonded to one another, to release serotonin, where we're proud, we're feeling proud. Yeah, I feel good. And to feel we're in this together. And perhaps to feel, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. Versus, no, it's hopeless. So the magical science of storytelling is figuring out, what do I want the person I'm talking to or the people I'm talking to, the recipients, what do I want the recipients of my story to feel? How do I want them to feel? So then the science part, well, that's part of it. And the rest of the science comes in, because then I want to talk to them about this thing over here. But if they're already feeling a certain way, they're more inclined to do it. If I want them to feel fear, to not do this, if I want them to not run into a burning building, I will talk about a story of that gets them to be afraid of what happens. Well, just to get them to feel fear. If I can get you to feel fear, then when I try to tell you not to run into a burning building, guess what you won't do? You won't do it. And then the opposite is true too, or parents don't get. If you don't want your kids to drink, you don't tell them a story about drinking that entices them to drink. Don't drink, you'll do all kinds of crazy stuff. Well, that makes kids think, well, maybe if I drink a little bit, I can not really be crazy, but I can just kind of experience, I can tiptoe to the line and figure out what it's about. Whereas the Italian story about drinking is more along the lines of, wine is food, we don't overeat. Versus, no, it's the devil's elixir. It's you're going to go straight to hell. And you see other people who drink and they don't go to hell. So it's like, what are they hiding from me? I'm going to try this. Becomes the forbidden fruit. So that's the opposite way. So the magical science of storytelling is to come up with stories, or have your stories, and then identify or say them, create them in such a way that they accentuate the release of certain neurotransmitters. David Phillips talks about endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. I don't think he talked about serotonin, but oxytocin and cortisol. So he says, okay, here's what you need to do about the magical science of storytelling. Number one, understand everyone can be a good storyteller, because there is a science to it. There's a science to it. Oh boy. Looks like we got trouble right here in River City. Right here in River City. Okay, so one, everybody can be a good storyteller. Two, think about your stories and associate the neurotransmitters that you have that go with them, or that you can accentuate. Here's a happy story, here's a sad story, here's an uplifting story, here's this. So you write down your stories so they become better, and think about the neurotransmitters that are associated with them. Then, when you're going to go in and talk to people about something, choose the story that matches the outcome you're looking for. So it's the booster rocket. If I want you to be proud to be an American, I might talk about, I remember when watching the moon landing and having to come in the house and watch the guys land on the moon, and how proud we were to be Americans, or the hockey team, or when the A's won the World Series and things like that. Get those neurotransmitters released, get people, get bonded. They see the world the way you see it. If people see the world the way you see it, now when you want them to do something, they're more likely to do it because they see things the way you see it. Now, if you're trying to trick somebody, you don't actually see it that way, right? I want you to think blue is red. I know blue's not red, but I want you to think blue's red. If I bond with you and I say blue is red and we're bonded, are you going to believe me? No. Why? Because I don't believe it. So that's the thing about bonding. You got to get people to bond with what you actually believe. Okay, let me see what else is on our hit parade because I've got to get to the place. In fact, let me see if I can get this thing printed. Current sheet, correct. Next, copies. There we go. Come on, baby. 6:11. We got 4 minutes. Well, sounds like it's going to work. Once again. Okay, well, all right. So that's it for today. Our Project Lava Gel to the moon. And we'll say, okay, good morning, Miss Trinkle, wherever you is. Bonk. Whatever that means. And I'm like, yeah. Okay, cool. All righty then, we're going to say cut. How do we say cut? Oh, there it is. Okay, and cut.